Okay, so here we go. We've got paragraph 5b, expressing a quantity as a percentage of another quantity. Let's have a look at an example. So what is the idea? Well, for example, here they're asking us, work out 29 as a percentage of 50. So the idea is that we need to think about 29 out of 50 and then convert that into a percentage. Exactly. Okay, so let's get started with this. Although is absolutely right, I think that rule you're referring to, the rule of 3, which you call here the regra dos três, I think, or regra G3, I think that would be convenient if you have a weird number like 13. So then it would help. But now if it's a fraction like this, I think the best possible way would be one of two methods, actually. One, as we have seen before, is we can use a trick here. You can multiply the top and bottom by 2 to get the denominator to become 100. And then that would give you 58 over 100, which we know is 58%. That's one way of doing it. Why 2? Because the denominator was 50, and we want to get the denominator to become 100. Now, another way of doing this, equivalent method that always works. You take that fraction, so you always write your expression as a fraction, and you multiply that by 100%. So if we multiply this by 100%, let's see. Is there anything we can simplify with the 100 and the 50 here? Could we do a kind of a simplification? Yes? No? Maybe? 150. How many times does 50 go into 100? 2. So we could just cross out here the 50, cross out the 100, and say this is 2 and this is 1. Well, the 1 we don't even need to write down. So what would be 29 times 2?
58.
So that would be 58%. So these are two very valid methods of doing the same thing. Now, I know some of you like to do it a bit more slowly. So an equivalent of that method, but the slow version, the tartaruga version, would be, let's do 29 over 50 times 100%. So some students like to say, ooh, I know, this is like we have an invisible 1 down here. I will multiply the 29 with a 100. That will give me 2,900. And then underneath, I will have 50 times 1. That's 50. And now I will just do this calculation in my calculator because I have a calculator and I don't like using my brain as much as using my calculator. Okay, I suppose that's fine if you have a calculator paper. And then some students would say, okay, so I'm going to put that in there, 2,900, and then I'm going to divide it by 50. So ooh, that's 58. It saved me the trouble of having to think about it. So now I can focus on thinking about TikTok. Yes? 50 divided by 100. You should have done, if you want to do it another way, you could have done 100 divided by 50, which is 2. And then you would have done 29 times 2, and that would give you 50. Yeah, if it's a weird number, this method would work best using the calculator. This method, actually. Yeah. Yes, I will skip 1b because it's not what I'm focusing on, but let's try this second question. You want to tell us how you find 2 as a percentage of 5, how you would rewrite it? Yes, give it a go. Eyes on the board. Everyone, yes, 2 over 5. Excellent, 2 over 5. Excellent. Why are you multiplying them both by 2? Excellent, very good idea. So we are multiplying by 2 because remember, if you get it to 10 or 100 in the denominator, that's going to be easy to calculate. Okay, how do you do it? 4 over 10.
But since I want the percentage, I'd be like 20. So I just put a 0 at the end of both.
Excellent. So you're saying effectively you're multiplying both by 10.
Yeah.
And that would give you 40 over 100, which is 40%. Nicely done. Somebody wanted a different method. Do you want to tell us? Yes, excellent. Is that what you were going to say as well? Who was it back there? Yes, you were going to say exactly the same as well done. You noticed that 5 goes into 120 times, so we can simply multiply both by 20, and that would give us 40 over 100, which is 40%. Yes, nicely done. This is a nice topic because it gives us so many ways to do the same thing. Yes, got it. So here, instead of multiplying by 10, you just put a 0 there because you know multiplying by 10 does that, so you don't have to multiply. Yes. Is there another method anyone would want to share with us? Anyone? No? Yes. Times 20. In some cases, excellent. In some cases, this is not going to work, guys. In those cases, let me say, what will always work, everyone eyes on the board, almost there now. Let's multiply with 100%. So what always works, keep this in mind, always works. We multiply by 100%, always. So now, what do we do if we multiply by 100%? Well, some students will say, I'm going to multiply by 100 and then divide by 5. Absolutely, that works. Some students will say, I'll do 100 divided by 5 and then multiply by 2. Yes. Some students will say, I'm going to multiply across. That gives me 200 divided by 5, and I'm going to change this to a percentage. And then they will say, right, 200 divided by 5. Let me do that calculation very quickly. 200 divided by 5, well, that's 40. So you can use a calculator in the test, most likely. Yes, we do want you to do some things without a calculator, but then a lot of these things we want you to do using the calculator. So when the time comes, we will give you the calculator paper questions and use a calculator so that you familiarize yourself with that. Okay, last example of the board, and then everyone's done the practice, guys. Let's do this. 6 out of 8 is a percentage. You want to give it a go? Yes. 6 over 8. Excellent. Times 100%. Lovely. So this will always work. Okay, so how do we do 6 over 8 times 100%? Yes, okay, that would work. So you're saying, okay, let's use my method and then your method. You said a slightly different method. So I'm saying I'm going to multiply across. So I get 600 divided by 8. And that we need to change the percentage. So here we go. We have, so let's see what we have actually. Can we simplify this fraction without a calculator? What number goes into both 600 and 8? 8. You mean you can do it immediately? I would say maybe simplify it firstly by saying maybe let's divide both by 2 to make it easier. 300 over 4, and then can we divide by 2 again? Okay, yes, excellent. So you see what I'm doing is I'm breaking it down into smaller steps so that my brain can digest this a little bit better. But obviously, if it's right, maybe you can do it immediately. Okay, so we get 150 over 2, and then we change that to a percentage. Now, what is half of 150? 75. So said, well, I saw that immediately in the beginning. Absolutely amazing. Well done. You can do that. Now, another method here, somebody mentioned, was it you said, well, when I do 6/8 times 100%, I don't do it the same way. You said, I'm going to do it a little bit differently. Is that what you said? You're going to multiply. Who was it? Okay. Yes. 1 second. So you said, I'm going to do 100 divided by 8 first. Is that what you said? Yes. So now the problem is this. How do you do 100 divided by 8? In your head, you would probably need a calculator, but it would be 12.5. Yes. So 6 times 12.5 would indeed give you 75%, but you have to deal with decimals, and some students don't like decimals. But if you can use a calculator, no problem. Yes, yes. And then somebody else, another method, final method. We have one more. Can we notice 6 over 8 simplifies? 6 over 8? So 3/4. So if we divide both of them by 2, we get 3/4. Now, can we get something over 4 to become something over 10 or 100? Times 25. Yes, if you multiply both by 25, we can actually get the denominator to become 100. So that's going to be 75 over 100, which is 75%. Nicely done, guys. I hope now you have seen all the different types of methods that we are using here. And let's move on to a little bit of practice.